right, let's see. Record. You can release your video order here. That's not what I'm trying to do. Did the live stream. How do I do that? Do I go into settings?
Maybe participants.
Let's see. Allow. Oh, let me go to you. More. Allowed to record.
Yay. Okay.
There.
Thank
All right.
you.
So now we are actually on the live. It's showing live on Facebook. I'm not sure if you want to share your screen or do a watch party so that people can actually watch us while we're talking. I say that every time and people look just like you looking right now. They're like, well, how you do that?
Let me see. Share my screen. Okay, I'm doing the share. And this is you disable participant screen sharing.
Well, no, I mean on Facebook. So if you go on Facebook, like in your page, you can do a watch party once you see the video. So you can search for Grateful Own video and you can do a watch party so that your people, all your followers can see us having the conversation.
Okay, so let me
see.
see. So here I am. Here I am. No, okay, wait, let me see. So I'm on my page.
Do you see a button that says start a watch party?
No. Sell your products, people reach, about.
Or go to my page and just share the video to your page.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll be easier. You can go to my page and share the video to your page. That way, because I want all of your people to see the dope energy we have when we talk.
Okay, let me see if I can find. Okay, so your page.
My personal page, not my business page. Toya Wadmore page. Look, every Thursday I say I'm gonna do all of this stuff before I go live, and I never end up. So I end up recording 5 minutes of me and my guests trying to figure out what we doing.
Share now to my page. Okay, so then I say, yep. So what do I
while
want?
you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead with the introduction. Hey, everybody, or as I always say, hey, honey child. Welcome to our Thursday evening heart work. As you know, my name is Toya Moore. Every Thursday, I like to come on Facebook Live and talk to the people about homework for the heart. And what homework for the heart is for me is giving people the opportunity to see men and women that look like me, who are in these wellness streets, providing some services and some goods for people so that we can figure out how to get through the getting through. I started this back in November with the good sis Creed and we did a 60 days of change. And what I decided to do, because I was talking by myself, and I said, I'm okay, but I really want y'all to meet all my dope ass friends who are in these streets doing just good work. So I want to thank you guys for joining. I want to introduce my good friend, my sister from another mister, Miss Deborah Edwards, the owner of Grateful Own. When I tell y'all I got some dope ass friends, I don't even think y'all know my friends be doing their damn thing. Like it's astounding to me how awesome you guys are. But before I sing all your praises, I'll let you sing your own praises. So tell the people who are tuning in a little bit about you, who you are, and what you do.
Okay, yeah, my name is Deborah Edwards and my company is Grateful Own. And what we do is we teach mindfulness and meditation practices, self-sustaining leadership practices in the workplace. So it is a combination of really looking at self-care and creating a life for yourself, and in organizations, creating organizations that allow people to thrive no matter what's going on around them. So in the workplace, a lot of times the situation is where you have to sacrifice yourself to move forward in the organization. So creating practices that make it so that you're taking care of yourself every step of the way. You're having an awareness of what you really, really want, and you're finding your way to that. So it's a combination of things. We do that in a lot of different ways. Online trainings, classes, private consulting, self-care consulting, whatever happens. I just kind of go with the flow and flow with the go, and it seems to be happening well.
It is. I'm so proud of you. Before we go into all the stuff that you do and why I wanted to have you on, I always like to do a thing where I say, "How did we meet?" Because I know a lot of people in these upstate streets, right? I know a lot of folks, and sometimes I be forgetting where I meet people. So I always want to get us to have a conversation like, how did we even meet and end up being friends?
Well, the way that we met is I was in the Upstate Strategic Power Partners networking group,
Yeah.
and I think you knew Devin, Dr.
Devin
Devin.
Berry,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
And so Devin and I were having a conversation, and either she introduced us or she said, "You need to meet Toya."
Okay.
And I don't know, I think you did end up coming to one of our meetings, and we talked for a little while. It was awesome. And so
Yeah.
that's how it ended up being. And it was just so funny how much we had in common after
I
we
know.
sat down and talked. It was like, how do I not already know you?
Right.
Yeah, are you going to be part of my dad's inheritance?
Because we are related, right? So I am part of the family now. So run me my money. And it's so
Yepper.
funny because I was a part of one of Devin's. She had a pilot program for veterans for acupuncture, and I was a
Yes.
part of that pilot program that they were trying to do. And we were just talking, like me and you talk. We were just talking, and she was like, "You have to meet Deborah. You have to meet Deborah." She was like, "You guys have to meet." And,
Yes.
and that was it. And when we met, I was like, "Oh, I like her. Oh, we could be friends. We gonna be." I said it to everybody who I love. I'm like, "Oh, we friends now." You're
You
stuck
did
with
say that several times, and I was like, and then I was like, well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
You couldn't get away from me. I wasn't gonna let you go more than a month or two. And I'd be like, "You all right? Where you at? Let's meet for breakfast and lunch." It's what I
Yeah,
do. So I'm thankful for the connection, and I'm thankful for just the friendship that we built over the past. I think it's been 2 years. Has it been two
I
years?
I think it has. Yeah, yeah, this last year just went, but I think it's been, yeah,
It's been
yeah.
about 2 years. I'm so thankful for you and grateful for you. So let me tell y'all, anybody who's watching who doesn't know what a badass Deborah is, first off, she's busy. Listen, I'm gonna gas my friends up. I'm gonna tell you right now. I always got something complimentary to say. I'm gonna tell you, look good, you do good. I'm always gonna do that. But I so love the fact that you have strategically placed yourself with so many significant and important organizations, large organizations that are really doing big things in the world. While you always busy, because you'll be having meetings till midnight. 1 o'clock in the morning. Why is you in a meeting in the middle of the night? But I think it's because the organizations you work with are worldwide, right? Like all over the world. What are
Yeah.
some of the organizations that you work with and partner with to provide your unique message?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of organizations. One that I'm really excited about right now is, well, no, I won't tell you about that.
Okay. Now look, now I want to know. Which one is that? Wait. Well, I already know.
So
Oh, we can't say
one
it
of
on the
the
screen.
Okay, so I will say I am a Chopra Center certified instructor.
Okay.
So I am certified in perfect health, where, it's just the Ayurvedic way, looking at the 5,000-year-old practices of yoga, and not just the asanas, but meditation, the food that we eat, just looking at that whole system and bringing that all together, looking at the realms of personality, or not possibility, possibility. It's late,
Right.
girl. Yeah, and you to give
I
me a
know.
minute. Looking at all of the realms of possibility and just really focused on the fact that we have control over our lives and
Okay.
what our lives look like and what we manifest in this world. And so that I did, and that just kind of got me started on my journey. And so then I was also involved. I got my mindfulness practitioner's certification from the Natura Institute in Australia. So that was good. That's
Better
that
name
just
drop another company, a country, Australia. I'm sorry. I got mine from
in
Australia.
Australia, darling.
Okay.
And then, and so then another organization that is my heart is called Be Present. And it is a Be Present organization, and it is involved, it is a 37-year-old organization, and it was founded by Lily Allen. And what it is an organization that is teaching, it's in working in the realm of social justice and empowerment.
Yeah.
And what this organization does and is teaches, and wherever you are, again, wherever you are, how to know yourself outside of the distress of oppression. Because a lot of times what stops us, even with our health and our practices, is that we don't know ourselves, and then we're just trying to um, create alliances that are not true alliances based on, what the connection with our heart. We create alliances that are not really supporting us thriving. And so this organization is, it's just everywhere. It goes into organizations, into companies, into, and have monthly developmental meetings that teach the practice of the Be Present empowerment model that brings a tool for us. Okay, so let me just see if I can. I'm going to just talk. I'm going to
Go
talk like
ahead.
we're in
Just
my living
listen.
room.
Go ahead. I jump in when I need to. Do your
Okay,
thing. Talk your shit. What you got to say?
okay, so like with all of the stuff that was going on, with all of the Black Lives Matter, with all of, all of the 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 this that's been going on for the last how many years.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found is that people really wanted to do something about it, but they couldn't go in without getting hurt. So people would go to these marches and they would get just, and it would just so angry and wouldn't know where to place that anger and wouldn't know how to, just get into that level where it was so strong inside of you, that anger and that fear, that you didn't know what to do with it. And so
Yeah.
what I love, and where I've decided that my place is in it, is creating that place, creating that safe place, creating that way that we can bring that connection with your true self that'll allow you to go into places, to do what you feel is your purpose, to be able to feel where your place is in the struggle, in the fight. I don't want to say the struggle, but in the fight. And wasn't that girl good in the inauguration? Oh
Oh,
my
yeah,
God.
that's a whole nother. That's look at this little chocolate girl. Oh, saying those words. But so let me ask you, are you talking about the burnout, or are you talking about the discovery? Because I feel like when the protests were happening last year, my place wasn't in the streets. Like my place wasn't walking down the street. My place was behind the scenes. So when the people who were marching and talking and doing were burnt out or angry or frustrated or overcome with emotion, come on back here, sit down and talk to me. Let's do some deep breathing. Let's do some movement. Let me get you refilled up. Let me make you a healthy sandwich. Let me give you this recipe for a smoothie,
Yes.
And so you can
Yes.
go back out there in them streets, because I need you in the streets. They need us back here to kind of help them to stay fulfilled, I guess. I don't know, to make sure they can stay in a place to where they can continue to deliver the message or move in their purpose.
Right. And so, and whatever that purpose is,
Yeah.
not just in this area, but some of us are called, for equality and social equity in the workplace, for different ways. But what the Be Present empowerment model does from my point of view, and what I love about the model is it's created as it goes, right? So the
Mm.
model is the model, but and I don't want to spend a bunch of time, but that's just one of these organizations that I just love, and would love to share it with anybody. But what the Be Present organization does is it creates a space where you can get that support with support groups and all kinds of ways, so that you can, and I always say this, I always talk about girding your loins, you
Oh,
know,
wow. That sounds
making
nasty.
sure that you got, when you
Yeah.
go into
You're
battle, you got
protected.
your armor, your everything,
Yeah.
and you're taking care of those vulnerable places.
Yeah.
And so what I feel like the Be Present organization does is it gets you prepared so that burnout doesn't happen as quickly,
Mm.
or it doesn't happen, so that you're actually having a structure that is set up to support you no matter what place you are.
Right.
If
Right.
you have that place that you're in, it's just like meditation. And this, one of the things about meditation is not to get you calmed down you know, when you're all the way up here, or when you're um, stressed out or whatever. One of the things that meditation does is, by doing the practice, it creates a foundation that supports you so that you don't have to get up here in those
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
So you're getting your body used to, it's just like, you cannot give from an empty vessel.
Ooh, I was just thinking that while you in my head, I was just thinking, Iyanla Van Zant says, the term "my cup runneth over," what's in the cup is for me, what comes out of the cup is for everybody else. So we
Right.
can't keep giving and giving and pouring, because then you end up depleted, and that's where you have the maladaptive symptoms, the anxiety, the depression, the elevated stress, the post-traumatic stress type disorders, because we're constantly giving and we don't have anything to give. Like, you can't drive a car when it's on E. That's what we are.
Right, right. And little do we know, and this is one of the things that I really focus on too, is we have to be aware that the things that you're doing today creates your life next week, next year, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And so if we're running around with an empty cup all
Yeah.
the time, that's showing up in our body with inflammation, with disease, with, you're talking about the maladaptive behaviors. Those in themselves not only are presenting mentally, but they're presenting physically, right?
Yeah.
Because you still have the symptoms of the fight, flight, freeze.
Yeah. Fight. Yeah. Fight, or freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah. And so that those three responses to um those three responses um to stress cause, you know, physical things. Your heart beats faster. You start getting hot. Your brain, all the blood leaves your brain, and you can't think as quickly. So if you do that for a prolonged period of time, then it's going to just degrade and degrade and degrade. So what you're doing is setting yourself up for so that your body can withstand those things and it's not so reactive. You don't have to go into fight, flight, or freeze.
So let me ask you a question because I want to talk. I got so much I want to talk about. We only got an hour, but I want to ask you a question because the purpose of the heart work is really to give people tools to be able to get through whatever the getting through is. So I've been seeing a lot of people who their levels of stress just cannot get to a normal neutral point because whenever we, and I say we as Black people, start to relax, start to celebrate, start to feel some kind of joy, some BS happens and it kind of triggers some hurt, some discomfort, something from years and years ago. So how do we get, because I'm focused mostly on moms now and women, because what I read is that most women have been the ones to leave their professions during the pandemic, and have the additional stress of taking care of the children, being at home with the children all day, or trying to work from home with the children who are trying to go to school at home, on top of COVID, on top of social unrest, on top of their own stuff that they're already carrying. How do we even address that? Like, I was in a mom's group today and all these women were like, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm done, I'm over it. And so they haven't even gotten the foundation because they're all over the place.
Well, I think one of the key things is to understand, first of all, if mama ain't happy, nobody ain't happy. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the first rule. And we forget that as mothers. We forget that as women. And so again, what I think we need, what I know we need, I always say I think, but what we need to do as women is we need to actually come up with a plan for self-care.
Mm.
And you are the one that's in control of keeping to the plan.
So, okay, let me play devil's advocate. Come on now, let's get real with this whole self-care thing. Because I often say, self-care has been colonized and it has been whitewashed and it has been turned into something that doesn't seem like it's affordable or doable by a regular person. So self-care, feels like I got to get a massage. I got to, go out on a date. I got to get my hair done. I got to, do acupuncture. I got to do yoga. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like it's a rich woman's or wealthy woman's or, a wealthy person, the well-to-do person's outlet. It's not for somebody who's a single mother with 2-3 kids, who's working a couple jobs. So how do we teach people that self-care doesn't have to be about things that you pay for?
Well, I guess come to my website. No, not my website.
No,
come to my
you better plug your website.
go. We are giving self-care tips all the time. And some of the self-care tips that I have are get up. Here's one thing that I do every morning. And this is part of my self-care. When I get up, I'm usually laying here. I read a book in the morning before I even get up, which is bad. I shouldn't do that. But anyway, when I get up, I turn myself around on the side of the bed and I just name 3 things that I'm grateful for. Just
told me that. Yeah.
habit of gratitude is self-care. One of the things that I do in the evening is I make myself a little cup of tea and just find a quiet place, which may be hard with mothers or whatever. Create that time for yourself and just have a cup of tea. One of the things that I do for my self-care is I take a bath. And yes, I do use Dawn dishwashing liquid.
Wait, first of all, you got all that fancy stuff in your house and you putting Dawn in your bathtub.
Yes.
Whatever works though. Whatever works.
You don't have to, I've used, the bathing bubbles, that cost $80 or whatever. And Dawn dishwashing liquid works just as well for me get some Epsom salts, do a soak. One of the things that I used to do when I worked, when I, was working at a corporation, I worked at Ford Credit and, very grateful for the job that I had there. But it was, a lot of times I was walking into a very stressful situation. And so before I even turned off the car, I would leave my house with enough time that I could sit in my car for a few minutes before I went into the job, right?
Yeah.
So I would either chant, I would meditate, I would put on some good gospel music, I would put something on that uplifted me, because before I started my meditation practice, and meditation, there are millions and zillions and gazillions of meditation apps.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is Insight Timer, and it's
Yeah.
free. And you can use that. And when I first started meditating, I would get to work 15 minutes early, which was a chore for me because, but
I
I would
know.
get to work 15 minutes early, sit in my car and just play a meditation app. People don't have to know what I'm doing in my car,
Right.
and that's what is, like, and even like my mala beads right here.
Yeah.
I can get my beads, and then when I'm sitting down somewhere and just do affirmations like this, don't cost me a word. Oh, I got to tell you, I was in stirrups at the urologist with my mala beads, all nervous and just chanting like this. So
Oh.
really just creating for yourself little tiny little actions that you can do that are going to help you in situations, in self-care. One of the things that I had to learn to do to take care of myself is to quit flipping people off in traffic.
Oh, now, first of all, I can't imagine you flipping nobody off.
Oh
I cannot imagine. You are just so peaceful. You got your calm voice. You have your soothing energy. You're real laid back, go with the flow. Talking about something you was waiting for me for 15 minutes and didn't even bat an eyelash. I'd have been so you flipping people off.
my gosh, it was horrible. And oh yeah, I would be driving to work and I would in a minute. And then I just reframed everything. So, for a little while, I was like, bless you. You just be blessed, and then I just turned it around. After a little while, it was just like, okay, I didn't even have to say bless you with that much energy. I just say, okay, bless you. I know I make mistakes. You probably did too. And what I learned, it was a gift for me
Yeah.
because, whenever I flipped someone off, it presented itself in my body. Whenever I got angry, it presented itself in my body. And if I just say, oh, peace be with you, my son, and then also understanding that sometimes things happen in order to create an opportunity or a space for you.
Oh, you better say that again. Things happen to create a space for you, a space for me to be patient, accepting, calm, whatever it is I need in that moment.
Right. Or even in the next moment. Like say one of the things, say, I'm looking for, the man of my dreams. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
just be all out there with it, but looking for the man of my dreams. That person that stopped me in traffic, that made me stop for that traffic light, may have been being used to allow me to get to kicking chicken at the exact time that the man is going to be there that I'm
You
going
better
to
say
meet.
it. Yes.
So you just got to trust the universe. And even when bad things happen, I mean, and my morning gratitude, I'm not, always, I'm not going to include the bad things. That's just not going to happen first thing that I wake up. But I'm also cultivating the habit of being grateful for the bad things that happen, or looking for, like I
The
said,
lesson.
guy cut me off in traffic, looking for the opportunity, and just doing that little bit to change your mindset is self-care.
You know
Because
what?
it's
You know what I did? You know what my one thing for self-care is that's really shifted me? Not holding my pee. just not holding my pee. Like if I got, because sometimes if you're a busy woman and you're at the office, remember when you were in corporate America, how many
Oh my
times do you sit
gosh.
at your desk and you would just hold it until your knees was bouncing and just holding it, right? Then running
Yeah.
down the hall, I've had a couple cheering. I can't hold it much longer anyway, so I got to go, or else I'm gonna have a serious accident. But recognizing that I drink a lot of fluids, I drink a lot of juice, I drink a lot of water. Why am I holding my why am I holding it? Like I'm taking care of myself and my bladder by just going to the bathroom. That was a really, like, I don't know how, but it shifted something in my brain to be like, this is an important call, but I'm gonna have to put you on hold for a moment because I gotta go pee, or I'm in the middle of, but I need to use it. I need to take care of myself. So that
Yes.
is one really small thing that people don't realize could be self-care. I feel like I did a lot of self-care. I do a lot of self-care because I'm not going to hold my bladder just because we have water.
Right. Right. And exactly like the same thing, like feeling your emotions.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's self-care to allow yourself to feel your emotions. If I am sad about something, I'll cry. I'm going to sound like Forrest Gump. When I had, I'll cry, but I just don't stay there.
Yeah.
A lot of times we have more stress put on us by not expressing our true feelings than we would have had by just expressing our true feelings.
Yeah, but as well as I do, we live in a society where, don't cry. We tell little boys when they're little teeny, man up, quit acting like a whatever. We tell women you ain't got time to cry because you got all the stuff you need to take care of, or in a professional environment, it's hard to emote because then you're the angry Black woman, or you're so emotional, or you know what I'm saying? Like there's this whole um not, I don't want to say struggle, but it is kind of a struggle as a woman in society. And I'm going to add, as a Black woman, to be able to emote and allow yourself to express yourself. So then we end up walking around pushing our anger and our sadness and our frustration, and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it until we have, aches and pains and stomach problems and heart issues and, problems breathing and headaches and migraines and all that kind of stuff. How do you even get to that point?
Well,
I know,
that's
look, I know I'm dumping it on you today, ain't
again, yeah. And that's why, when I was talking about in the beginning, changing the paradigm in the workplace, that's one of the things. You're absolutely right. It doesn't allow you, because that's one of the questions that I ask, it is a matter of survival in the workplace to, as a woman, and especially as a Black woman, to to hold a certain level of they call it emotional resilience,
it?
in the workplace, when really it's you know just not responding, really not responding with any emotions
Mm-hmm.
to any of the triggers that happen in there. And so that is real. That is a very real thing. That's why I'm involved with changing the paradigm in the workplace, or creating spaces that it's not going to be a sacrifice, or it's not going to be a parasitic relationship between the employer and the employee, that everybody's going to be able to thrive, including profit. So I got away from your question. So yeah, that is something that's very real, and it needs to be done. And you can't always do everything and emote at, all the time wherever you are. But what you can do is you can create spaces where you're supported.
Okay.
Create a girlfriend group, create a, and I invite anybody to join one of the Be Present development meetings. And we have, like, I have a peer support group. I have 3 women, and two of them are Black, 2 of them are white. So there's there's that shared experience there, where we meet on a regular basis and we just work it out.
Mm.
We just work it out. And I know like, and I'm not going to get too personal, but I had something really, 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 really disturbing happen to me. And I knew, and it, I knew I didn't want, it out in the streets. I knew I could call that support person.
Yeah.
And, but these support group relationships are developed over time. It is not going to necessarily be your sister friend that you go down to the bar with, or that y'all go, it's not going to, this is a, you know, developed relationship of support. Now it could be, that person that you're doing that, but it's a concerted effort to support each other in that way. That
And
makes
it's a
sense?
good, it does, and I think it's also a concerted effort to not fall into the trap of we're in a relationship, whatever that relationship is, you and I, but I'm not letting you dump on me all the time, contributing to my stress. And when I say dump on me, there's people who are going to just take and take and take. And every time we talk, it's going to be, your dog died, your mama mad at you, your siblings fussed you out, you ain't got no money, you ain't got no job. Every time you talk, it's all on you. So I think when you find those relationships, is making sure that it's mutually beneficial as opposed to one-sided. Even with me dumping all of my stuff on you, I can't call you every time we have breakfast. I can't sit down with you and just tell you all of my stuff. We have to
Right.
be able to share and both get something from the relationship, and then leave something on the table.
Exactly. I mean, it's reciprocal, right? I mean, because if you're just taking, and one of the other things to support your self-care is to know where people fit on your circle,
Ooh,
you
ooh, let's
know?
talk about that.
So there are some friends of mine that I love dearly that they can't be in the inner circle. There's just something, there's a disconnect, there's something that I need to love them from afar.
Yeah.
And there's some friends that, oh my gosh, I love them, we align, we're in each other's lives every day, and they're on the inner circle. My lover, my husband, my boyfriend, my mother, she may be in the core circle. So making those distinctions of how you're supported, don't put, this sounds like Steve Harvey now, don't put somebody that is an outside circle person in your core,
Mm.
and don't treat somebody that's in your core like they're an outside circle person. With that change and that disconnect, that creates stress, havoc, whatever.
So, okay, let me ask you this then. I love these conversations. So, how is it that I get to the point of knowing? I think church folks call it discernment. How is it that I tap into my discernment to be able to say, you know what, Deborah is cool, but she ain't inner circle material? Or, Deborah, she seems a little distant, but I know she can be in my inner circle. She's a trusted person. How is it that we even get to the point to where we know not to put the wrong person in the core? Because I think what tends to happen is that stress and overwhelm is because I chose the wrong partner to raise children with, or I feel obligated to my mama, even though my mama is toxic, or my brother is toxic. I feel obligated to have them in my life as much as society says they should be, and we end up adding to the toxicity of the relationship just by letting them be there. So how do we get that discernment and not fall into the trap of I feel guilty because I didn't call Deborah today, and you know what I mean? And she made me feel bad.
I don't think that, I think it's something that's developed over time
Hmm.
because
Within me or within the dynamic of the relationships. I think that's two different things.
no, just within you, and having that understanding and having the courage to follow through with it. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, I've had a couple of people that I love so much, so much, so much, so much. But then I found myself not being who I am when I was around them.
Yeah.
I was at one point, I swear, I was hanging out with these people, and everywhere we went, they stole something. And I'm like,
So,
I'm serious. We went up to the mountains and, went to that Bubba Gump shrimp place, and they stole the little sign that goes like this, and I loved these people. And I had to say, y'all, I can't hang with y'all. I love you, but you got to be out here. And then I had somebody that I loved so much. His name was Brian. I loved him so much. And we were just friends. But he made me feel so bad about myself. He always made me feel like I was chasing. And I had to stand up for Deborah, again, that self-care notion. I had to stand up for Deborah and say, Brian, I love you. And clearly you don't love me the way that I love you. I'm going to need to just step out here.
ooh, that's tough. Ooh, that's
It,
tough.
it is tough, but it's the decisions, the hard decisions that we have to make to hold our peace,
Mm,
you
mm.
know, and
Which all
then
goes back to self-care.
yes, and creating those boundaries and creating that understanding, saying to yourself, this is the very least that I will accept
Mm,
from anyone that's in my inner circle.
mm,
And let me tell you, I'm not good at it all the time. Some
mm.
people slip through. There's some people on my outer circle that I didn't pay attention. No, there are some people on my inner circle that I didn't pay attention to as well as I should have.
Yeah.
And they put themselves on the outer circle.
Oh, now, okay, I love that. They put themselves on the outer circle. I don't have to do it. Your behavior is what made you end up someone who I don't, interact with on an intimate level, emotionally or even spiritually or whatever. I didn't do it. You did.
Well, that too. And there's someone that was there for me that I was treating them as if they were out here. I was
Mm.
not giving them the love, the respect, and the care
Oh, yeah.
that you need to give somebody on the inside. So, what I have decided for myself and my self care is I identify those people. And part of my self care is to really take care of those people that are on the inner circle.
Mm. You know what I find? I find that, of course, I think I should be in everybody's inner circle because I mean, I just think that, right? So when I come to people with a genuine desire to help and support and encourage, people have been hurt so much and taken advantage of so much that a lot of people look at me like, why is she being so nice? Why is she, what is the catch with this relationship? What is she trying to do? So, I find myself um wanting really badly to be in all the inner circles. You know what I mean? I just want everybody to be my best friend and everybody's gonna be, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that is so cool. And wanting that, you're going to have more best friends.
Do I have a lot of best friends, child?
You have a ton of best friends because you come to them with an open heart and an open will. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's what feeds you. That's what lifts you up, you
But you
know?
know what's good about it is I also have a certain amount of discernment that I can tap into because I might invite everybody and say, "Hey, we all best friends," but everybody who I love, I don't necessarily continue that same level of love and connection and best friendship into our relationship. And that's why I
Right.
say, your behavior dictates whether or not we're gonna be best friends or we're gonna be good friends, and I'm gonna call you every once in a while. But
Right,
I think
right.
sometimes women have a hard time identifying that, being able to say or trust their own heart, their own discernment to say, you're not good for me or you are good for me. You know what I'm saying? We get that confused.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I am so into the Be Present organization, because that empowerment model puts
Mm.
you in, brings you to an awareness. Because I've been in a support group with Be Present now for, I can't believe it, 2 years. And just participating in the support groups has opened me up to have an awareness of those things.
Mm.
Because one of the things that I learned when I went to Oprah's Live Your Best Life tour,
Okay,
which
you better name
started this,
drop, Oprah.
I know, right? Which started this whole thing, is I did not realize that I have control over my own feelings.
Oh yeah, you just thought
I did,
feelings happen.
yeah, feelings just happen. And you and I were talking about it at one point. The only emotion I knew that I could have was angry,
Mm.
because I was seeing all this stuff, seeing this, seeing this, seeing this, and I was making it this big, because you know what happens. You know
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah.
And so that I was not even feeling the rest of my feelings.
Mm.
And then when I had access to the rest of my feelings, through having an awareness and knowing myself, then that allowed me not to be angry all the time.
Was that because of the women that you had surrounded yourself with, or do you think it came with like how do you get to the point of tapping into that awareness and that knowing so that you can do the hard work, so that you can do the gratitude, so that you can kind of get through the getting through?
Well, I think that it is a habit. I think that,
Mm.
just like I said, that just that small step of getting up in the morning and seeing 3 gratitude things. Yes, I think there's that. And that's an opening up. And then meditation, that's another way to open up. And like the 21 day, and the insight timer, they have meditations on there for 1 minute. They have meditations on there for 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
just starting where you are, and then, starting with some gratitude, starting with meditation, because those types of things are putting you in a place where you can have an awareness of yourself and your body and what you're feeling, and having an awareness of your thoughts. And just every once in a while, there's things on the internet. Just look, and but yes, who you surround yourself with, the women that you surround yourself with, is huge. You need to pick your, I don't want to, I call it a flock. One of the people in my, in one of the networking groups that I belong to said, this is our flock. This is who we gather with. This is,
Yeah.
and you see a bunch of birds, and how beautiful it is when there's a whole flock of birds and they're all flying in the same direction and they all turn. So when we lift each other up in that way, then it's our own self-care. It's like
Mm.
I give, I lift up, because when you're lifting someone else up, even someone that appreciates it, someone that is going to hold your heart as tightly as they hold yours,
As you hold theirs.
as
Yeah.
you hold their, that's just self-care. That's just supporting your self-care, and one place, and creating those spaces. One place, like I said, that I have, that is um with Be Present, and then I have some other places too that I've created. Our relationship is one of those places where I've created that, and just looking around you and seeing where you can create that. And I had to create that. I had that. Me and my mom were that flock. We were 2 birds just floating around. And then when my mom died, I was like, where's my flock?
Yeah.
So I needed to create it. And so what I would advise anyone is to create your flock before you need it.
Okay.
Because we are all going to go through, different things. And if you have your flock already established, then when stuff goes like this, then you have somebody whose hand is already there.
Mm. I love that. When I went through my divorce, I didn't have a flock. So I was giving and pouring. I was trying to be somebody's wife, somebody's mama. I was having a terrible time. I was in the military at the time at my work. I didn't have a good support. So when I went through my divorce, it really did something to me. Like it was terrible, and then I had another relationship that didn't do well after my divorce, and I found somebody and I thought we were going to get together. And when it didn't work out, I was upset, but I feel like the reason why I wasn't as tore up about it because I was in a good place at my job. I was working at Goodwill. I had my sorority sisters. I got my dope ass friends. I got all these women that I can call at the drop of a dime. I have at least 30, 40 women in this phone that I can call who I know will come and get me if I needed them. I had my own personal wellness practice. Like I had so many things going for me that I was sad for about a week and a half. I was really sad and disappointed. And then I was like, I'm going to get through this. I'm okay. Whereas with my divorce, it was a bunch of stuff, but I didn't have a flock, as you say. I hadn't created a life that would support me when the shit hit the fan.
Right, right.
So I appreciate the idea of building your own flock. I really appreciate the idea of creating the spaces you need to grow, because I think sometimes we don't feel like we have any control. Like if I got 3 kids hollering in the background and a boss that makes me feel a certain kind of way, and my bills are due, I don't know if I would feel empowered to create those safe spaces for myself. Let
Right.
alone stand up for myself if somebody is taking advantage of me. So empowering people to create the space that you need, even if it's going into the bathroom and closing the door while those children out there crying. Let them kids cry, they be fine.
And one of the things that I also say is ask more.
What do you mean?
Ask, okay, you may have those 3 kids out there, crying, get creative. Honey, can you grab these kids for a minute while I go into this bathroom and
Mm.
cry? Or, okay, you're trying to take it all on yourself.
As a
And
single person, yes. As a single mother, I don't have anybody who I can ask. It's just
right,
me.
right. You can ask them kids.
Oh, right.
You can ask some kids, you know what? I'm gonna need you to set the table. I'm gonna need you to, after we eat, do these dishes.
Mm.
I need to take a minute for myself. And I want to take a minute for myself. And you know what? You can come with me. You can join me. This is something that I'm doing for myself. And you're creating, the example for your children to ask for what you need.
And you're clearing that throat chakra, getting all of that gunk out of there. So
Yes.
empowered, to stand up for yourself in other situations that are bigger and better. Because I find that if you don't ask for more or say what you want or say what you need, then when the situation comes up that's kind of big and overpowering and even overwhelming, you're stuck and you don't know what to say. You don't know how to stand up for yourself. And that just contributes to all the other stuff.
Right. And even like little things, like when you're talking to charter communications, ask for what you want.
Mm.
Okay, this is my situation. This is what so you get in the practice. Going to the grocery store, I don't find the eggs that I want. Ask.
Yeah.
That's
So
this small little baby steps. And you're right. People think that you've got to go to the La Costa Spa for self-care, for a wellness retreat. I have had a wellness retreat in my house by myself with candles. I'll have a pamper me day. And now I can't, it's easier for me because I'm single, but I can say, okay, I'm going to take these kids over to mama's house for a couple of hours. I'm going to come home. I'm going to put on some music. I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to light a candle. I'm going to cook me something good and have it, do my nails, whatever. watch Netflix without somebody, interrupting me.
Right.
It is self-care is available to everyone.
We just
Even
have to be creative in what our self-care looks like.
right. Self-care can be taking a minute or saying every night, or no, let's do movie night with the family.
Yeah.
That could be self-care. Um, Telling the family on this night we're going to get together and put together a puzzle.
Mm.
That can be self-care. Like you said, just get creative. Just find, one of the things that I have this self-care spark thing that I'm creating right now. And one of the things that I did was I did this as an exercise, and I've done this in several of my seminars. I say, okay, get a piece of paper. We've got 5 minutes. We're going to take 5 minutes, and I want you to write down 25 things that make you happy.
25. Woo!
25 things in 5 minutes.
I can give maybe 17, but 25? That's a lot.
And we do that exercise. And then there's 25 things that you can do that can make you happy. And so one of the things that I did was created that list of 25, and then I put them in a block, like a bingo block. I know this sounds weird. Put them in like a bingo card.
Great.
And then just put them in the card, write them in, write them in, write them in, write them in. And then every day or whenever I think about it, I do one of those things that make me happy. So I do 25. So I try to do 25 days. And then do those things that make me happy. And then when I do it, cross it off.
Wow.
And so at the end of the month, right, then I want to have them all crossed off. So that allows you to be focused on your self-care and to be focused on things that make you happy. And so now when you're doing your list, you do 25, and there may be some that are doable and some that are not. One of the things that would make me happy is to go on a date with a tall, dark, and handsome man.
You better say that. Girl, that's on half the people I know list.
I ain't got a tall, dark, and handsome man right now, so that's not going to be on my list. But what might be on my list is to get some caviar. Or no, I won't say that one. What's something? Strawberries? I love strawberries. I love strawberries. For me to just get a bunch of strawberries and put them in some Cool Whip, and I do mean Cool Whip.
Okay, you listen.
Some Cool Whip and sit with my legs crossed and eat my strawberries.
You know what one of mine is watching videos of babies laughing. I will just, if you go to YouTube, there's a video, it's like 2 hours, and it's just 2 hours of the sound of babies laughing. And when I'm in a really bad space, or if I'm just like, you know what, I need to tune everything out because I got to get off social media sometimes. I don't have a TV, so I don't watch TV a whole lot, but social media will get you caught up. I will go and I will just type in babies laughing, and I will just play the sound. You can't have an attitude when you're listening to babies giggling and laughing.
Right. And what that does is, and the sound of babies laughing, I bet you, is a certain level of vibration.
It lifts my vibration so much that is my go-to. When all else fails, I can put on just 5 minutes of a baby laughing, and I'm like, you know what? Look at that little baby just a giggling over there. Okay, well, I got an attitude, and this baby is full of joy. But it's like what you said, it's creating a space, because I don't think people would have put that in a self-care checklist, right? So as you're saying, list 25 things, one of the first things I'm thinking about is the sound of babies laughing, dancing in my kitchen, cooking, because that for me is cooking for fun, not for anything, just cooking and making stuff for my kid. I've been making breakfast every day for my 15-year-old because she went back to school, 4 days out of the week. So I'm like, well, let me make this easy for you. I'm just going to make breakfast for you every day. Just get up. We had biscuit gravy the other day, had waffles the other day. We had eggs and grits the other day. But that for me, that's self-care.
Right. And to me, I mean, and another one, like you said, another way of taking care of yourself is optimal nutrition.
Oh, now we can talk about this for a long. Come on, man. Tell me about
Yeah,
your box that you get to your house. Tell me about them veggies you be getting in there.
I love my boxes. I I love my boxes. They're called Misfits boxes.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I've never done it yet.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And so I get like organic vegetables that just come to my door. And since it's just me, I do it every other week. And so, like this week, I knew what I wanted to eat. So I ordered, you can pick from things.
Okay.
And then there's some boxes that you can do that you just let come whatever comes. And so this organization, this Misfits box, what they do is, there's organic growers, and you know how you got to have a potato this specific size that, doesn't have any knots on it or anything like that. So that's why it's called Misfits, because I have had a potato that's this big and, that has like, knots on it. They have some, I mean, there's Facebook groups where they have pictures of the odd looking vegetables, but you're getting them at a really good price for
Yeah.
organic. So that's where I started. That's where I started. Baby step. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to just try this one little thing because I want to, and I'm going to be honest with you. And I said this in another meeting that I had, and I think this has been a theme for me this week. I am not afraid of dying. Now I'm not inviting dying right
Right.
now. I
Right.
want
Right.
to
Right.
live a
Right.
long life, but what I really don't want to happen is 10 years from me not be able to get out of my bed and do the things that I want to do. I do not want to suffer. And I don't want to, I would rather die with my health than to die with a disease or with, from something like that.
And the combination of stress and the weight of just existing on top of not feeding yourself a whole food plant-based diet as much as you can, or just being a little bit healthy. The combination of the two, you're prone to have inflammation, you're prone to have heart disease, you're prone, and we as Black people are predisposed to it anyway, just by being Black. So I
Right.
think if you talk about, having a healthy diet, that's a really, really good way of choosing self-care. I know a lot of people will say it's hard for me to eat healthy because I got 2, 3 kids, or, I only make $10 an hour, $11 an hour, and I got to feed 3 kids and pay my rent and pay my car payment and whatever. So I'm going to get whatever I can get with this $17 left over at the end of the month to feed my family. So, I think a lot of times in the Black community, especially, or in the underserved communities, because it's not always just Black people when you're talking about
Right.
poor. In underserved communities, it's hard to talk about the misfits boxes, because what you might think is a good price point for some people is going to be way too much for them to be able to afford. So, I think that getting through the layers of the barriers that we sometimes have in our mind, in our pockets, our bank accounts, in our relationships when it comes to wellness is something that, man, we could talk for hours about
Yeah.
this.
And this and I'll bring this up, and I just probably not going to be a popular thing. Why do you think that those unhealthy foods are a lot less expensive?
Well, okay, I'm gonna say, so I read a book. I'm telling you, I'm deep in this nutrition thing. Now I'm doing a nutrition coach certification right now. That's a whole nother conversation I gotta tell you about. But I read a book a long time ago, about just big business and about pharmaceutical companies and all of those type of things. It's so many layers to healthy food being a little bit more expensive, and the processed food being less expensive because it feeds the masses, and it feeds the masses not so good stuff. So then what happens is the masses have to go to the hospital, and they have to get on these medication, and they have to get this, so it's like so many cycles and layers to the food industry that keep us, as everybody, as Americans mostly, overweight and full of dis-ease, and full of things in our bodies that are not healthy, that prevent us from even going to the next level in our wellness. And I will often tell people, I believe that in order for you to get the messages you're supposed to receive from the God you serve, the Most High, the universe, whatever it is, you got to have a clean body. Like, you got to be able to receive that. But I came last night. I had a migraine. I couldn't get no messages from nobody when I had that migraine.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you why I had a migraine. Because I decided, and don't judge me, I decided to eat some lime Dorito, the lime chips. That's all I had. That was my whole dinner last night. So I
Oh
ate
my
half a bag
goodness.
of lime chips. And my body was like, good and damn well, you need a vegetable. You need some protein, something, because I normally eat pretty well. But I told my child, I was like, I'm just going to eat these chips. And then I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And I had a huge migraine, and I wasn't able to be very productive. But think about people who eat unhealthy on a regular basis, or aren't able to get fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, unprocessed food. I think that it blocks us from being able to get to the point to where you said, I know I can create a space for self-care. I'm not even thinking about that because my brain is too cloudy.
Absolutely. But we can get frozen foods. We can
Okay.
get, we can get, I think that, maybe you're not getting the Misfits box, but, I shop at Aldi too. And, their produce is pretty, and one of the barriers that I had was, I grew up on collard greens with fat back, and all that stuff. I didn't know how to make food not taste good without some fat back in it.
Right,
I
right,
just,
right, right.
that's just what I came up with. And everything that I tried that wasn't, you know, it was nasty. It just wasn't, it was like, if I got to eat this for the rest of my life, I'll just die now, And so again, it was like baby steps. I had to find a way um, to make that lifestyle that I wanted and that healthy nutrition work for me. Because
Yeah,
what worked for you doesn't work for me.
yeah,
It may not work for me. So what I had to do was find some recipes that work for me. Some of my favorite things, like I love chili. I had to find a way to make chili so that it was still good for me, but it didn't have all the meat. And I put sugar in my chili. So
mm,
I mean, and cheese. So I had to find a way to really make that so that it worked for me without in a healthy way.
oh, we're gonna have to have us a chili cook-off, child. We're gonna have
Mm.
to make some. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't make that face. Come on now. Don't make that face. I can do a whole. Now, I'm not vegan or vegetarian, but I can eat, something without meat in it. I only eat meat because my children threatened to run away from home if I didn't kill an animal, bring it into the house so that they can consume it. But we can do a chili cook-off. I can do my vegan, vegetarian, whole food, plant-based chili, and see, who's is who. I
Yeah,
don't
I
do
can bring
cheese.
mine. I can bring mine.
Well, we can do that just to see, because you looking real confident over there.
I know it's good. But see, that's the thing, how do I say this?
Just say it. We're not sensitive over here.
I know. It's almost just like just trying. Some of the things that I've tried have been just nasty. I'm like,
Yeah,
whoa, I don't need to try that again.
yeah,
But baby steps, just
yeah.
baby steps. I
And the
would
same
not.
thing with self-care though, because you might. So I remember I went to a therapist one time, and the therapist said to me to take these stickies and write these affirmations on these stickies and put them on my bathroom mirror, and every day stand in front of the mirror for 5 minutes and read all the affirmations and repeat them to myself. That was a bullshit exercise for me. It didn't work for me. Yeah, it
It
just
doesn't work for me either.
I was like, I'm not doing this. This is I'm not doing it. But I know another girl who did it, and she would every day. She's like, oh my God, I had a breakthrough today when I was in front of the mirror, and I said, but I was like,
And
child,
I'm like,
right?
okay.
That is something. It's like when the Holy Ghost hit, and it hit everybody but you in church. Like, everybody got the Holy Ghost but me. So I feel like it's the same way, like with recipes, with self-care, like it's baby steps and it's figuring out what works for you, and what doesn't. I tell people all the time, running for me was the way that I think I told you this, the way I learned how to meditate was through running.
Yes, yes,
So for me, moving meditation has helped me to be able to do a sitting meditation. That's
right.
why yoga and running and dancing are so important to me, because that's how I, get connected to myself and to the source. But that doesn't work for some people. Some people are like, I ain't running nowhere. I might run my
Right.
mouth, but that's it. you know?
Yeah. And exactly. I mean, and I know you're the yoga yoga guru, but I cannot connect with yoga. I
Yeah,
just
a lot of people
can't.
can't.
I can connect with qigong. I can connect with, some other things. I like,
Tai Chi, you probably love Tai Chi, don't you?
yeah, I can do that. But that's the point. None of us, if all of us were the same thing would work for all of us.
Mm,
What the point is trying to find what works for you. Just because your girlfriend over here lost 152 pounds on Weight Watchers doesn't mean that that's what's going to work for you.
yeah.
And so, just sometimes just being still long enough to hear yourself or to even think about what would be good for you, or even like with my meditations, the thing that I always talk about when we get still and listen to ourselves, asking ourselves, who am I and what do
Mm,
I want? What do I want? And
mm,
again, a way in with self-care is finding somebody else to help.
yeah.
you know that's another way. How may I serve? And then
Mm,
again, like I was talking about earlier, what am I grateful for? And if you realize that some of these things in your life, like your children, or some of the people, like taking, some of us are taking care of elder parents, different things like that are internalized. If you realize that you are actually serving your purpose, you're serving your children, you're serving your parents,
mm.
that brings a different mindset that allows you to reframe it in a way that kind of takes it out of the stress bowl and puts it in the service bowl.
And that's that. But again, I have to reframe it. I have to shift my thinking. I have to create a space where the work that I'm doing for my children is not, I got to cook breakfast for this child again, but it's, I am honored to be able to create a healthy, nourishing breakfast for my child before they go off to school. So I think it's in the reframing, it's in the surrounding yourself with people who can call you on whatever it is that's going on, and giving yourself the opportunity to try and fail, try and learn a lesson, and then try and succeed. All of that kind of, to me, speaks to tapping into your self-care principles, and the things that you're talking about, gratitude, and just doing something so you don't
Right.
end up stuck in whatever you're stuck in.
And not be afraid to do imperfect action.
Ooh, I'm right
You
there.
know,
That is
Be-
quote worthy.
Yay. Because I have even cooked stuff, or I even have tried practices. I tried yoga many times. I've
Yeah,
tried many things, and I said, okay, I tried it. Yep, not for me. But this part of that I like. I like this part of it.
yeah,
So, that may not be for me, but I sure did like that smooth flow. I like that.
yeah.
So, taking that imperfect action that leads you to something better, that's more
Mm.
supportive, or that you can. Or like today I made this recipe.
It wasn't
It
good.
It was good. It was okay. But it was a grilled chicken, like a Cajun grilled chicken that I put on top of some pak choy and some asparagus spears that I sauteed
That
in
sounds
olive oil.
good.
And then I put some little cherry tomatoes in there and, sauteed all of that. Well, I had a mix of spices for the chicken that it's like next time I am leaving out oregano,
Ah, yeah.
because that oregano, I wasn't feeling it. This will be a good recipe. I really enjoyed it. It was quick, but next time I'm not going to do oregano. So imperfect action leads to perfect action or to perfect
Mm,
results. So, yeah.
mm. Okay, now I got that. I'm gonna quote that. Now I'm gonna give you credit for this quote 3 times before I steal it and use it for myself.
You don't have to give me no credit. I won't be there. Nobody will know.
She ain't even here. She don't even know. This has been, look, this is the longest heart work I think I've done. It's been over an hour we've been talking, and there's so much more I really want to ask you about. So we're probably going to have to do a part 2 because I really want to talk more about the social justice work that you're doing. Because I think that's really important that we talk about social justice and how mindfulness and gratitude and all the work that you're doing um, fits into social justice. Because some people feel like it's two different things, right? So
Right.
I really want to talk about that. I really want to talk about more about the Chopra Center because a lot of people may not know the significance of you being a Chopra Center trained practitioner and what you can bring to them. I want to talk more about Be Present. Was that class that I went to last week? Was that a Be Present?
No,
That wasn't.
no, that wasn't Be Present. Be Present and check it out. It's called bepresent.org. And I am going to send you an invite to a development meeting this weekend if you have time.
Okay.
And actually, yeah. And no, it is totally separate.
Totally
So,
separate. Okay. Because
yeah.
that meeting I went to that you presented on, I was like, oh, this is good. These people are they just excited to be here. And they were all just kind of cheering everybody on. I was like, I know I'm excited, but good Lord, they're excited.
Yeah, that's a great group. It's Uprising, Unstoppable, Powerful Women, and it's a networking
Okay.
group. Yeah,
Okay, that's a networking group. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So you all
So,
over the place. There's just so many things that I think. But the beauty of it is, I kind of used to feel like there were not people that look like you and I doing the work that you're doing. So I just felt like I was the only Black yoga person in the upstate of South Carolina. I'm the only person who talks about meditation or eating healthy, especially in the South. So I love the fact that I find other like-minded energies that I can connect with and feel and not feel othered. And
so,
yeah,
yes, we need to create a flock.
we listen. Oh, look, let me tell you something. I forget that all of my friends don't all know each other. Like, because in
Yeah,
my mind, I got some dope ass friends and everybody should know every. So how come, like, when I introduced you to Tiffany, I was like, y'all don't know each other? How can you not know each other? My homegirl who was on last week, who did I have on last week? I think I had Jamie on last week. I'm like, you should know
is
Jamie
she
because
from
Jamie.
DC?
No, she's from Hartwell. She does the meditation.
Oh, okay.
Um, she's a meditation. She's the calm coach. I think I told you about her. She does
Yeah,
the Black Mom's Guide to Calm.
yeah.
So, but we need to do a flock. You know what I really in my mind when you were talking about your 25 things, I was like, I need Deborah to do a workshop for us for 25 things, and we're going to do a tangible workshop, something that you can draw or write or create. I'm thinking about doing it on my Christmas tree because my Christmas tree is still up.
Yeah.
So for February, we're going to do Black History Month and hang them on the Christmas tree. I'm going to take my Black History Month cards and just poke little holes in them and hang them on the tree so that we can decorate the tree. But I'm thinking it would be great to have these 25 things and make some kind of an ornament, some kind of a picture, something tangible that I can look at and touch and pull out, even Jenga blocks. You know, you got those Jenga blocks. I'll buy some naked Jenga blocks and paint 25 things, one on each block, and pull stuff out of that mug. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking we need to do that. And with social distancing, we can even do a Zoom call. Give people the time to get the items that they need to get, whether it's crayons, pencils, paint. We can do a paint and sip. There's so many things that popped into my mind. So when you said we need to do a flock, I got the flock now.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Because I think it would be really beneficial to hear your perspective, the way you run your workshop, the way you teach those of us who are professionals and who don't consider themselves to be professionals, but who are trying to exist the best that we can. What are some things that I can do to be okay? And I think that 25 list, like I'm struggling in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, can I really fill a list of 25 things? And I think that's just a really good way to I don't know, to grow and to be more aware of who I am and to shift. Because I feel like whenever you implement and execute a wellness practice correctly, that shifts something in your brain, right? Your
Right.
mind, the neurons and the I don't know what they call it, the protons and the neutrons and the whatever,
Neural pathways are
all
created. Yes.
it shifts something. So instead of constantly going to this negative way of thinking or behaving, something shifts. It physically changes. And studies have shown that your brain activity is different. The parts of your brain that light up are different when you implement certain wellness practices and
Right.
change the way that you think. So I think we need to do a flock. I've been saying that since day one. I'm like, Deborah, we need to do something now.
Okay, let's do it.
Pinky swear. Pinky swear. You know me. I'm like, all right, I got you. I got 10 ladies. What we gonna do this? What we gonna do?
All
I just
right,
think
we'll do it.
the whole point of the hard work though is so that people can be exposed to people like you, and learn some of the things that you do and get different options so they don't think that they're alone. They don't think that they're by themselves.
Right, right. Because that's when, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. That
that's when
is
all
my
hell breaks loose.
that is my mission, my vision, because not very good things happen when we feel like we're by ourselves.
Absolutely. So how can people find you? Like if people wanted to be a part of Be Present, if they wanted to sign up for your weekly meditation groups that you have, I don't even think we mentioned that, did we?
Yeah, no, we haven't.
So how do
But
people find you? How do people get signed up to just be a part? Or we didn't even talk about your one-on-one coaching. You did a session with me, just to kind of to get me, because I was all over the place at the time, just kind of get me focused and okay, let's figure out where you need to be and what you need to work on. How do people sign up for that?
so, yeah, let's see, what's the best way? Go into my Facebook page right now. Or you can email me from my website. So my Facebook page is at Grateful Om Life.
Okay.
And it'll say Deborah Edwards, Grateful Om Life.
Okay.
If you go to my website, gratefulomlife.com, or email me at Deborah@gratefulomlife.com.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the best ways, or even hit me up on Facebook, DM me on my regular, on my personal Facebook, whatever page, Deborah Edwards, you can get a hold of me there. There's plenty of opportunities to sign up for things. I offer them at different times. So the best thing to do is to get on my mailing list. I have, and I'll put the link I think I have it available. Put the link in the comments.
Okay.
And, but that's the best way, is to get signed up for my mailing list. And right now, for joining my mailing list, I'm offering a free self-care tracker.
Is that what we did?
Nope.
No, that's not what we did.
No, the self-care tracker is just It's just a way you can choose 3 things that you want to change in 21 days.
Okay.
And then I have little hearts because I love hearts. And all you do is every day you check off or cross off one of the hearts. So you know what your progress is. And it just, all it does is anchors your intention
Yeah,
for,
it gets you
for that
grounded
month.
in, whatever the intention of your pattern of behavior you want to change.
Right, right.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So excited. I'm so excited for the people to see this. We got about 5 or 6 comments. I'm trying not to look at them because I don't want to be distracted. I'm trying to be in the moment with our conversation. But my hope is that people will come back and watch the replay and get some good stuff, because you dropped some knowledge bombs in here today. You said you was talking some things in here, and that's why I wanted you to be up here, because I knew if people saw us talking and interacting like we normally do, something good would come out of it.
Oh, I'm so grateful. Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you
grateful for
so
you.
much.
I'm grateful for you. Like I said, I got some dope ass friends. Like, come on now. They don't tell
you
me what
know,
to know.
like attracts like and all that,
You said
You
I'm
must that you're so special that all you can have is dope ass friends.
you better say it. You better tell. They don't even know. Well, I am very grateful and honored that you took the time out of your day to hang out with me. You could have been anywhere on a Thursday night, because I know it's late and I know it's time for bed, but you chose to hang out with me, and I'm humbled and I'm honored and I'm truly grateful. The light and the beauty and the strength that is in me honors and recognizes and clearly sees and loves you to death. The light and the strength and the beauty that is in you. For anybody who's watching, I want you to remember to think good thoughts and say good words and do good things. Until next week's hard work, I will see y'all later. Thank you, Deborah. I love you.
Bye.
Oh,
Love
I
you
gotta
too.
tell you. I gotta tell you about the stuff. We gotta do breakfast again, because there's some things that's happened since our last breakfast. So we gotta sit down and talk, because we got a lot to talk about.
Okay. Coming
All
up
right.
soon.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.